Good morning, good afternoon, or
Good
good
morning.
evening. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Raul. I'm an account manager from New Zealand, and I cover recruitment, the recruitment vertical, and the local government vertical here as well. We are joined by my partner, Peter, who is our country manager from Australia. Peter, please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hey guys, Peter Nicolau here. Yes, I'm Raul's partner in crime. Um, I cover off all of Australia from a secured signing perspective. Um, I have been in the industry a long time, and I'm about to show my age, because one of the things that's always been well, I wouldn't say curiosity, but interest of mine is cyber and security around IT, even from the early days. Like from in the late 90s, I actually had to chase a guy that was actually doing a denial of service attack on a government department. I found him, by the way. I did find him. He was in WA hiding behind a PC. Handed all that information over to the AFP and got them to handle it. So the whole security and sort of locking things down is something I'm very, very interested in and I love. And I love what we bring to the table. But yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
All right, thank you, Peter. We are going to be picking your brain when it comes to cybersecurity, since you're the expert. And I'd like to talk about a quick tidbit about digital signing. Did you guys know that over 69% of people prefer using digital signatures over web signatures? And this was taken like 5 years ago, and probably right now it's even going to be higher. Any thoughts on this, Peter?
Well, yeah, 100%. You just got to do a Google search for, fraudulent signatures, and you will find all sorts of drama stories. One of the classic ones that I heard, well, not classic, but sad ones I heard was, an executive assistant who got an email from a scammer about a contract that needed to be signed and some money transferred, and her director was on leave. She didn't want to bother him. She tried to do the right thing, put the signature on there, transferred the money, and you know, after that, all hell broke loose. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, and she was only trying to do the right thing. She wasn't actually doing anything wrong. But this is the world we live in currently. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we need to all be very vigilant and careful about what we do with our signatures.
So yeah, lots of dangers out there. In fact, the same thing happened to one of her colleagues. This one was an Amazon scam, and she ended up sending money to her previous boss to buy Amazon gift cards. And yeah,
There you go.
gone.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
So yeah. So anyway, what are we going to be talking about today, ladies and gentlemen? We're going to be making you aware of the different dangers we face in this digital world, and of course, because there are dangers, what potential problems they may cause. And of course, since we're talking about protection, Peter's here. We're going to talk about how you can protect yourself. All right. So I'd like to ask you now some questions, Peter.
sure, go
And
for it,
yeah, yeah, there are many different stories about fraud, digital fraud, phishing, hacking, and whatnot.
mate.
Um,
Sure.
any stories or experiences you'd like to share? Something that happened to you.
Oh, look, the reality is, fraud is huge out there. Whether it's a scamming, phishing attack, or whether there was a story I heard. I was speaking to a finance company the other day where they told me about a situation where a spouse wanted to get an additional mortgage. Okay, so add onto the mortgage, and he decided he wouldn't tell his partner about it and went ahead and signed and got his mate to witness it. Okay. And this is all done digitally. Okay. Um, well, in the end, what happened was the spouse found out because she got the loan document. She saw what was going on. They couldn't make the payments on the additional money that he'd gone for, and all hell broke loose. And the sad part about the story is that this destroyed the family because all of a sudden it was just the wife didn't want any part of it. It was huge. It destroyed the family. They ended up in the courts, and it's a sad thing. But this kind of stuff happens, and that's from a personal point of view of something happening
Mm-hmm.
like that.
I know.
Think of it.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah,
actually,
yeah.
that was my next question. So that's that can happen to us on a personal level. But let's talk about organizations and businesses. How can this affect businesses?
And this is 100%. And we only got to look at something like the Optus incident. A few months. Well, yeah, now it's about longer than a few months. But the reputational damage that caused to Optus was huge. But think about it, if you actually did get scammed or somebody actually did a false signature for you or copied and pasted a signature and that got out onto the news or the web and you're a government department or a business, the reputational damage that causes is bigger than, the financial cost. Because at the end of the day, it's like people trust you. That's why they want to come to work with you. That's why they want to do business
Mm-hmm.
with you. All of a sudden, it puts that doubt in their heads. It's like, do they have the proper systems in place to do this? What's
Mm-hmm.
going on here? Why did this happen? And not to mention the fight you're going to have in the courts, about, who did what and trying to prove that you weren't the one that did it. I mean, have you got the paper trail? Have you, it becomes
Mm-hmm.
an absolute nightmare, both from a reputational point of view, but also potential to send a business bankrupt. Let's be honest.
Hmm.
You know,
So in other words, like whenever we're using a digital signature platform, sometimes we tend to think that, hey, because it's digital, we can assume that it's secure. But as you were saying, that's not always the case. Am I right?
it's not always the case. It's like, and you know what? People, they rely on us being time poor. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
people love digital signatures. As back to your original quote, 69%. Okay. Why? Because it comes through the ether. We see it, we go, yeah, we know the topic, we know we've seen this before, click, 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 sign, away we go. You know, and I do that too. I'm not going to say I'm special and I don't do that. There's times when I've got so much on my plate, I'm juggling family, business, doing all that. You just want to get shit done. Okay, excuse the language. But this is the reality of it. Do you know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I suppose so. We are all susceptible to this, but we need to be more. I suppose I want to educate people about being more cautious. I mean, we see it everywhere. People are talking about cyber all the time, but
Mm-hmm.
signatures is another factor that we need to be more careful when we're doing stuff.
No. And if you're not, as you mentioned, people are time poor. Sometimes we're just too busy, which keep on clicking. What can happen to an organization if, a person signs
Well, then
absent-mindedly?
you've got to go through the rigmarole of actually proving in a court of law that it wasn't you that signed that document. Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
how long is that going to take? A month? No. 2 months? No. This could be, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3-year exercise of proving you didn't sign it. And the reality is it could be $1,000, but it could also be $1,000,000. If it's $1,000, you're lucky because you could potentially, if you think it's not worth the grief, you'll walk away from it and go, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
I learnt from my mistake. But if it's $1,000,000, that could, bring down a family or bring down a business.
Yeah.
So we need to be more cautious about the documents we're signing, how we're
Mm-hmm.
signing them, what form of security is there around it? Can we prove? And this is the key: if someone would have, if this was to go pear shaped, how can I
Mm-hmm.
prove it wasn't me?
Hmm. In fact, you make a good point. I did my research. I actually found a case in Australia, and it is entitled "The Williams Group versus Crocker." And here, Mr. Crocker was a director in a company, and they were actually using an e-signing system. I don't know what it was, and it was set up so that the directors one of which was Mr. Crocker, could actually sign documents. And what happened in that case was a supplier sent them a credit application. And in that application, it stated that the director was a guarantor. And unfortunately, I don't know, something happened. Their signing system wasn't secure, and it was signed by persons unknown. What happened was the company that Mr. Crocker worked for defaulted. And since they defaulted, what did the supplier do? They sued the guarantor. They sued Mr. Crocker. And luckily, Mr. Crocker was able to show evidence that, number one, he did not read that said agreement and he did not actually sign it. So that is a case where the lack of security features of that e-signing system had a negative effect.
Look, thank God Mr. Crocker, had the evidence. Okay.
Yeah.
But imagine the grief and the stress that would have caused Mr. Crocker.
And also for the company. I mean, also for the supplier, right? I mean, yeah, that's what he lost.
The reputation. I mean, you found this on the internet. You Googled it and found it. And, that's reputational damage. Someone does a Google search on Mr. Crocker and it's like, oh, hang on, he was in the courts. I'm not saying, you can find anything. Go Google my name and you'll find something on me probably. Hopefully not. But that's the reality of it. Do you know what I mean? It's the reputational damage that, it takes a while for. I was watching a documentary last night that said, they did something bad and they got to wait for it to actually stop being the top ranked Google search before, people start forgetting about it, kind of thing. So there's a period of time where you will be one of the top Google searches for that particular incident. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to be there. That's the reality of it.
That's true. So with this case, what could they have done to protect themselves?
Well, video. And this is one of the things that we're going to talk about here that we wanted to bring to light is that, video confirmation. We have video. It's proof of the person signing it. Okay. Think of it this way. Okay. You walk into a convenience store, okay, and you look around, and I can guarantee you there's CCTV footage everywhere. Forget the convenience store, the post office, the service station. There's cameras watching us all the time, okay? If something were to go wrong in that convenience store, okay, and I stole something or whatever happened, guess what? They've got video evidence of it, okay? You go to the courts, yeah, that was Peter who stole that Snickers bar. There's 100% sure. Why? There's his face in the video. Okay? It's clear as anything. It's Peter that stole it. So I suppose what we bring to the table is, one, I think we're one of the most secure signature platforms on the planet. There's no doubt about that. I believe that wholeheartedly. Two, we have the option within our platform to switch on video confirmation, which is the CCTV of digital signatures.
I like that, CCTV.
Which, it allows you. So when you send the document out to go signed, guess what? It's going to ask you to do a video as well. And when you do that video, so you sign the document, it does a video of you doing a particular gesture. It could be smiling, it could be leaning, it could be head up, down, turn around, whatever it is it asks you to do. And then that video gets stored with the document. So if someone says, you were the one that signed that document, pull up the video, prove it. They can't dispute that, can they?
It prevents you from even going to the court of law in the first place.
100%. You just send them the video and go, hey, look at this. And they'll go, okay, I'm sorry.
That is true. So in fact, this is a very powerful feature that we have. And the best thing about it is it actually comes at no additional cost. Video confirmation is one of the things that we do. Peter, what other safety features do we have?
So we have, and this is I think, and this is where it's beautiful in our system in that you have the option when you're going through to send a document out, you can put on email passcode. You get an email with a passcode on it. You got to put that in there before you sign it. Or you get an SMS. I love the SMS feature. Why? Because if you're going to sign the document on your PC, okay, you got to have your phone handy, okay. So if someone goes to do it on your behalf, guess what? They're not going to be able to do it because you've got the phone in your hand. And let's be honest, we don't leave home without our phones, do we? Okay. ID verification is very powerful because it uses some sort of government photo ID to actually do the verification. Take a photo of the photo ID, take a selfie, and it matches biometrically the images. But not only that, but we look for key features on those government documents to verify that it is a government document. Okay. And then you have the SMS plus the ID verification if you want to go that far. So I suppose depending on the document, depending on the importance of the document, you can switch on whatever security you think is valid for that document to be sent out. And it might be just an email passcode. If it's just a non-disclosure agreement, hey, email password's good enough. Okay. But if it is a $5 million contract, hey, we better be sure we've got the right person signing this document.
I mentioned you mentioned you had a story where one of our customers actually has two digital signing platforms.
Correct.
One they use for like NDAs, meeting notes, but the other one for their $1 million contracts. And who do they use for these contracts?
Yeah, it was interesting because when I was talking to the customer, they're like, "Oh, Ned, we use this other platform to do our day-to-day stuff," but their words were, "We don't trust that for the large deals. We'll trust secure signing for that because of the authentication that we actually have with the solution that we're able to switch on to verify which, and their words were, it provides undisputed evidence that that individual signed the document, which is what they want in case they do run into trouble.
Make sure that they're protected. All right, thanks for that, Peter. Yeah, what we'd like to do, ladies and gentlemen, is to actually show you a demonstration of how easy it is to use video confirmation. And from this, you'll find out whether or not, hey, that person was actually the right person who signed it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to send it out. So I created a template, sample template, guarantor demo, and to just send it out, you click on send, you put on their details, and you always have to make sure that this box says video confirmation is ticked before you send it out. And I actually sent this earlier. Yeah, Peter, go ahead.
No, and I love how easy this is. One of the things that draws me to our solution is the ease of use. There's no complicated. The user interface is very clean, but the fact is that the checkbox is there like that for a reason. That is, like we said, you don't want to send it out with everything. So it's an option. You just got to remember to go, hey, click, done. This is an important document. I'm just going to send it this way. Okay. So it's not as if you have to go and talk to IT and go, I'm going to switch on it's video confirmation kind of thing. It's in the solution. It's just a checkbox. That's all it is.
It's just a checkbox. Thank you. So I actually sent it earlier to myself to demonstrate it, make it easier. And once it is received by the signer, all they have to do is click on the blue box and enter the passcode 2168. Click on continue, and it is going to ask them to read the document. So you read it, and for here we want to put the guarantor's name. So let's say sample guarantor. There you go. And yeah, and then they sign it. And the moment you sign it, you probably know this already. You can choose a font, choose a mouse, upload your signature. But for this example, I'm just going to use a font, and you click on sign. And now what's going to happen is this is where the video confirmation happens. So you read it, you've been asked by the sender to confirm it by video. So you click on video. If you're on your computer, it will turn on the camera. If you're on your phone, it will turn on, it will show you instructions for mobile as well. So,
Can I just add something there? You can see
yeah.
that there was no signature added there yet until the video confirmation was completed.
Yeah, there you go.
So once the video is actually completed, then the signature will be applied to the document itself.
Oh, I know why it's not working, because the camera is actually being used by our
Yes,
meeting
correct.
platform. Anyway, I actually took screenshots of what's going to happen, and this is actually in mobile. So in mobile, you're going to put in the code. It's going to ask you to put your signature, and once you do that, it's going to ask you to turn on your video, and then you record. Before you hit record, it will ask you to do a certain gesture, like in this case, tilt your left ear to the left shoulder, then you record it, and then you submit it. And once it's signed, what's going to happen is you are going to receive the completion email, like over here. So this is actually the the character letter I actually sent to Peter the other day, and he actually signed it for me. So let's say, oh, hey, Peter, please sign this for me.
Hey,
And
that's not
if you
my
take a look at
signature.
it,
That's not my signature, Raul. Who signed this document?
you didn't sign it. All right, we'll see. Well, then who signed it? To find out who signed it, you can click on this. It opens up the link to the video signing. Let me just click on it. And it's going to ask you to put in the code 155936. And there you go. All right. So who is this person signing?
It wasn't
The
me.
video.
That proves it wasn't me.
Kind of looks like you, but yeah, there you go. That is an example of using our video confirmation technology. And another thing, so aside from the email, you can actually see it here on your on the Secure Sign website. This is what I sent the other day. And if you click over here, it shows you the link to the video and the password as well, in case you delete in case the email is deleted. And in fact, one more thing I'd like to show is the audit trail, right? Peter, we have an audit trail that tells you there you go, this is the audit trail. So, so this is when it started, and it tells you what the action was supposed to be. So you could say, hey, did this person actually smile? And number two, is it the right it's a sign of the right person. So yeah, so there, Peter.
And, all that detail in there is part of the whole audit trail. You present that with the video to anybody, and, they can't dispute that they signed it or they didn't sign it. It could have been somebody else. And let's be honest, the other thing you got to think about is if you switch that video on, okay, because what usually happens in a CCTV camera, when a criminal goes into something, they look around, they see the camera, they think about whether they're going to do it, and they go. Same thing's going to happen here. It's going to come up and say it's going to take a video of you. The criminal's going to go, yeah, this is too risky.
Yeah,
I'm going to bail. Yeah. So it's a preventative measure as well. Okay. So it prevents it from happening. Not only does it, prove that you didn't do it if a guy decides to go ahead and do it, but it's a preventative measure because it puts a roadblock in front of the criminal or the person trying to do it. In the case of, the spouse that we talked about earlier on, if he had to do a video of himself signing it, he probably would have went, yeah, this ain't going to work. I'm not going to do this. Because so it potentially would have saved him a lot of grief, because it would have put that, the second thought in his head going, no, I can't do this. It's too risky because there's a camera watching me. You know what I mean? Just like there's a camera watching me right now.
Yeah, yeah. So it's a CCTV for signing your documents.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, that is our webinar. Peter, any thoughts before we say goodbye to our audience?
We ended this. We did really well today. I usually talk overtime, but yeah, I'm going to talk for another 5 minutes. No, I won't. Look, guys, reach out to us if you're interested in finding out more or getting more information, or even me and Raul are quite happy to do demos and show you the solution. Reach out to us. We will be sending an email out after this, just as a follow-up, and if you really want, take it for a test drive, we'll send you. We're happy to send you an email with a link to sign a dummy document and record yourself, so then you can get a video of yourself as well to see how it works as well. So we're happy to do that as well. Hey, we're like used car dealers. Take it for a test drive.
Test drive. Yeah.
We're not as dodgy as them. Sorry, no. Because any used car dealers, you're not dodgy. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to offend
Well,
people.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for attending our webinar. Please catch us in the next one. Peter?
Thank you, guys, and have a wonderful day. And keep safe out there, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.